Listen, not just to me, although it's appreciated if you do, but listen this week as well as speak, because it's a very communication-oriented week. I'm Armand Diaz with your forecast for the week of October 14th, 2019. And this week, Mercury, who's entered the shadow of his retrograde, is a very, very prominent planet. At the beginning of the week, he's going to trine Neptune, and at the end of the week, he's going to sextile Pluto. So communication is definitely a theme. We also have the moon in Gemini towards the end of the week. Communication, Mercury sign, Gemini. So it's a week to listen, but listen carefully. And if I gave you a strategy for this week, it would be this. Talk to people in person. Talk to them on the phone. Hear the timbre of their voice, the tone of what they're saying, as well as the words. A little bit of a challenge, I think, this week if we communicate too much by email or, God forbid, texting or Facebook Messenger. It's a little too easy to go off the rails, to read in a little bit more than is really there. Or, perhaps to write in more than we really mean to put into a text or an email. So something important to do. Get on the phone. It's not, it's not as easy as just sort of like banging out an email and whatever, but it would be a good way to go about doing things this week. So we start the week coming off of the full moon with the sun square to Pluto. Things come up, right? This is the nature of this full moon on Sunday, and it definitely, the vibe continues through Monday. It's the full moon, sun square Pluto, things coming up from the past, secrets coming out, all kinds of stuff. Things come to light at the full moon. And then, as we have the moon void till about midday on Monday, Eastern time. And then we start to get into a period where we can sort of work this sort of Mercury-Neptune trine in such a way as to make it kind of work for us. Mercury-Neptune trine suggests being able to kind of massage the facts a little bit, not necessarily to be deceptive. I don't think it's a deceptive type of energy, but I think it's one where we're able to sort of twist things around. Maybe it's deceptive. We're able to massage the facts. We're able to put things in a way that sounds okay. Now, Mercury is in Scorpio, where he's not really mincing words and there's an emotional tone to things. And that's why you've got to listen really, really well. That's why you've got to say, oh, this is what they're saying, but how are they saying it? And when you're speaking, this is what I'm saying, but how am I delivering it? So that's a very big thing. We're going to be working with what's come up during the weekend, what's come up over the last 5-6 days, actually, and what might still be coming up, what is erupting out of things. Because the first thing that the Taurus moon does on Monday evening is to meet with Uranus. And right away, more information comes up, more things start coming out. The Venus-Uranus opposition, which was exact on the weekend, is reheated on Monday and Tuesday by the Taurus moon. So, it could be relationship-wise, it could be business-wise, it could be any kind of partnership. It could have something to do with aesthetics, creativity. It could have to do with valuables, finances. Surprising stuff continues to come up. I would say that is certainly something through Monday night into earliest part of Tuesday. And again, we have this Mercury, Neptune, whatever comes up. How do we work with it? How do we make it work for us? Tuesday, good, productive energy. It's a Taurus moon. Yes, we're dealing with things. We're dealing with stuff, but we should be dealing with it well. Wednesday, stick to routine matters. The moon is void all day long. We're having a lot of very long moon voids. If you've been watching the forecast, I've been apologizing for the moon. It's taken a lot of time off lately. It's a little bit of much-needed vacation time. So there's a long moon void on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, the moon goes into Gemini. Very good feel to this. The overall sense of it, Thursday, Friday, is the best days of the week to business meetings, presentations, interviews, things like that. You want to get folks together on the same page. You want to pitch an idea. The Gemini moon is going to spark up that Jupiter-Neptune square. So there could be a little bit of, hyperbole. People could go a little too far with things, push a little too much, be a little overexcited. The way to resolve that is to take the empty leg of the T-square, which is Virgo, which is facts. So you take all the great ideas that everybody's tossing around, make it into a matter of fact. What can we actually support with some real data? But other than that, pretty good time. Now the weekend comes up and we're at the last quarter moon and it's in Cancer. All right, so the Cancer moon is going to have us be a little bit contracted, a little bit cautious, a little bit careful, and a little bit snippy, especially as it opposes Saturn and Pluto. And it's the last quarter moon, which is always a time of assessment. We're not technically, technically the last quarter moon is early on Monday morning, but it's going to be essentially through the weekend that we'll really be feeling this. It's funny that we probably might not be able to get this out in the work thing because it's the weekend. So it's likely that we might be thinking about decisions that we'd make at work and then we'll implement them in the following week. Or we could be applying this sort of assessment and evaluation to our home life and to our more personal stuff. Be aware that, last quarter moon is a little critical and moon in Cancer can be a little protective. So there could be a little bit too much of a tendency to sort of cut things out rather than to, reinvest. So, you don't want to make sharp decisions that aren't really based in anything more than the emotion of the moment. I would say that probably, no, I'm not going to say probably anything. I'm going to go right ahead and say that's true the entire weekend long. It's there's still enough juice in the moon to have some fun, but with the moon in Cancer, I'm guessing that Saturday and Sunday, a lot of people are going to want to stay closer to home, not really venture out of into unfamiliar territory. Probably want to be at home, probably want to be with the people that you're familiar with, friends, family, and maybe get a little irritated with them. What are you going to do? The better night for going out this weekend, I'd have to say, would be Friday night. I would say, I definitely think that Friday night has an advantage over Saturday night. Oh, the people with their phones, they just bother me so much. Why can't they learn to shut the phone off before they start recording? Anyway, that's what we have going on for this week. Listen carefully. I should point out, excuse me, I'm very remiss over here. Venus is sextile to Saturn towards the end of the week and into the weekend. That certainly suggests that relationship matters can be resolved. If you've had, especially in the course of the last week or so with the Venus-Uranus opposition, there's a little bit more of an opportunity to kind of resolve matters and, sort of have a heart-to-heart conversation and go deep with things. And that probably be Thursday, Friday. The aspect is exact early on Saturday, but my guess is that you want to get this done while the moon is in Gemini. So Friday night would probably be the time. Take advantage of that. And Mercury is also sextile to Pluto on the weekend. That very much has a speaking directly kind of energy. Mercury's in Pluto's sign of Scorpio, so that ought to help the whole process of communication. If things do get tense with that Cancer last quarter moon on the weekend, you can express yourself pretty well. You can express yourself fairly directly. The sextile sort of suggests that it's not going to be extremely confrontational. It's going to be direct without being confrontational. So, you just say what's on your mind and you get things out there. Again, it's probably, it is a time for decision making. You just want to make sure that you're not overly critical in the process. You don't want to burn bridges. You don't want to cut ties when really, there's a relatively minor thing that needs to be addressed. All right, that's what I have for this week, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.